Hey, Sports Talk Bears, like and subscribe. So, look, we're going through tons of stories about our offensive coordinator position. I have a question. Why aren't we hearing anything about filling this defensive coordinator spot? I mean, teams are interviewing candidates. Are we behind the eight ball? Are we getting closed out? I think the Bears are doing something different. I think we're going to make a really smart move and promote from within. It stems from a fantastic hire earlier in the season that may be a huge part of the reason we had our defensive resurgence in the second half of this year. I'm talking about a little known hire by Coach Flus of former Panthers defensive coordinator Phil Snow as a defensive analyst on week 7 of this last season. Excuse me. I think this is the move that'll perfectly keep our momentum as a defense, keep the same scheme and the same familiarity, but also free Coach Flus up a bit to be a head coach over the whole procedure, over the whole operation during games. I'm saying something to you here as well. This is not a coincidence that the win against the Lions that marked the 7th straight game the defense dialed it up to a higher level. It corresponds with this overlooked move made in October. So looking back, we lost to the Vikings in week 6. It was terrible. Things were sliding. Coach Flus, he decided to make a change. Things were not clicking. Snow was hired for a specific purpose to help the team's defense in an advanced scouting role during the week. He provided summaries of every scenario the unit could face in each upcoming game, and the advanced metrics that resulted from this, they proved invaluable in preparing our defense, and it looks like it paid off in a huge way. The results speak for themselves. Coach Eberflus, he had this to say about him. He's a great person. He's very humble. He works well with others. He gives sound advice. He's done a good job where he's been in terms of having really good defenses for sure. So let's look at the results from this crazy stretch from week 7 to week 15. I'm getting these stats from an NBC Sports Chicago story, so go ahead and check it out. We allowed 19 points per game. And this is after from week 7 to week 15. We allowed 19 points per game, 278 total yards per game, and wow, 15 takeaways. The first 6 games prior to the hire, 29 points per game, 363 total yards per game, and 5 takeaways. Now, let's not be silly, though. Let's not say that this turnaround is fully placed on the shoulders of Coach Snow. This unit gelled. It appeared to be a blessing in hindsight. The defensive coordinator, Alan Williams, resigned for personal reasons. Our head coach is now working towards his strength, calling the defense. Montez Sweat came to town. There were so many reasons that this defense gelled and was a really dominant unit. I would say we are a top 5 defense right now, right? But suffice it to say that the addition of Coach Snow, that played a large part in helping this unit turn the corner. Let's credit our head coach for making this move of signing Coach Snow. So a little bit about Snow's history. He most recently worked as the Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator from 2020 to 22. And the year previous, the Panthers defense ranked 22nd in yards allowed and 19th in points allowed. In 2021, they ranked 2nd in yards allowed, but 21st in points allowed. In 2020, the Panthers ranked 18th in both points and yards allowed. So I think a really good thing though. Snow, he ran several successful defenses at Arizona State in the mid 90s, but his most recent success was working as Baylor's defensive coordinator in 2019 when they ranked 19th in the nation in points allowed. Eberflus first met Snow at the NFL Combine through their shared mentor, Rod Marinelli. One of the reasons they worked so well together is that they're from the same coaching tree. And Eberflus, he worked alongside Marinelli as a fellow position coach for the Cowboys in 2013, then under Marinelli when he was the Cowboys defensive coordinator from 2014 to 17. Meanwhile, Snow, he worked under Marinelli for many years. He was on many teams with him, but those stints included time together at Cal, Arizona State, and with the Lions. So there's no wonder they mesh. This is also a fantastic indicator that Flus, he can still have a part in the defense, but Snow can helm the ship during games without a change in terminology, technique, or scheme. Perfect situation hitting the ground running. I love this solution. Eberflus as well. He said that he values that Snow has some different experience as a coach, like using different pressure looks, He can run this defense and not only stay true to what has been done, but also he can add some new wrinkles as well. So I think the best thing we can do, keep this job in house. Let's elevate Coach Snow to defensive coordinator and allow this team that's already working on the defensive side of the ball, allow it to continue. Another great pivot that could be Ron Rivera. He's expressed interest in coordinated defense again following his firing as coach of the Commanders. You guys know about that. The Bears, I think they'd be a perfect landing spot if we choose to not elevate Coach Snow or if Flus doesn't want to call the plays. He mentions that getting back to basics, that would give Rivera a chance to get back to coaching instead of having to worry about all the things fans don't see head coaches doing. The way Washington's structure, the way that they had their staff, they put tons of pressure on him as head coach with a ton of extra responsibilities that other teams, they delegate him. So in short, he was super burned out. Washington was broken everywhere, and it's crazy that they were broken even with what they expected their head coaches to handle. That's insane. As a defensive coordinator, Ron Rivera, he did quite well as a Chicago Bear from 04 to 06. And outside of the first year, he did an outstanding job with a defense that would eventually face off against Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. Not a good result. And this was also a defense to be fair. We had Brian Urlacher, we had Mike Brown, we had Lance Briggs, we had Peanut, we had a lot. In 13 seasons, Rivera was 102 and 103, so just one win above 500, 3-5 in the playoffs. I would say consistency was his strength as a head coach, right? I think the results are there, but someone with an entirely defensive playing career and a coaching year up to that point, it seems like Rivera would be the man for the job. So we have two choices. I think the number one choice that the Bears are going to do is to either have Flus call the plays or, even better, elevate Coach Snow to the role of defensive coordinator. This would not only give him an elevation and also put him in the job that he's done before successfully with the Carolina Panthers, but it would also give Coach Flus the ability to not be obsessed with calling plays. He's still going to have a big hand in that, but I think you might see something. I'm not going to say this was a reason, and I'm not letting him off the hook for doing this, but we had some fourth quarter meltdowns. We had some games that didn't look like they were managed completely well, and I think part of that might be that Flus was distracted. Once again, I'm not excusing him from those things happening, but that is definitely a consideration. That wasn't the plan from the start for Flus to be calling plays for the defense, and this may have done something similar to what it did to Coach Rivera in Washington. It put more on his shoulders than he was originally planning on, and the team suffered. The whole organization as a whole suffered, and it's just a thought. I'm not sure if I'm completely sold on that, but it's definitely a thought. So you guys let me know what you think. Bear down, and we'll talk soon.